Welcome to Scrum Down. This is your one-stop shop for all matters rugby. I'm your host, Larry Asego, joined by Allan Makaka and, of course, the chairman of the Kenya Rugby Union, Mwangi Muthe. And we are live. I mean, this is a fantastic day. Chairman, welcome. Welcome to Scrum Down.
Asante sana, Rari.
And just as for starters, Jotham, you must know that this was the first coach I ever had in matters rugby.
I know you told me about it, and you look pretty excited also.
Lavin appears.
Until Lavin appeared, and then Chris appeared, but this was the guy who was always behind us, and I mean, he brought us to what we are. Right now, he's the chairman of the Kenya Rugby Union. Just to remind you once again, you can actually follow us on Scrum Down. We are on Facebook, look for Scrum Down, or on Twitter at Scrum Down Rugby, and we'll definitely love to hear all your comments. Starting up, of course, we have to talk about matters Elgon Cup. I mean, Kenya performed, brilliantly in the Elgon Cup, the under-19s, which was actually the inaugural tournament for the under-19s. What brought this idea about, Chairman?
You know very well that you cannot develop the senior sport without the feeder system.
True. And
it's the high time that Kenya Rugby Union develops the age group from under 14, under 15, under 18, under 21s. And you also know that our under 19 is going to participate at the Youth Olympics in Nanjing, China, next month. So we are using the Elgon Cup as a build-up because in the region we don't have many quality fixtures that our age group and our under 20, under 21s, or even our women, there's not much of fixtures that they can get from the region. And that's why you find our senior teams, we are tagging on South Africa, where there are better structures and better opposition, and that's why you see our senior team is improving.
Well, all that action, the Kenya A team, some people are actually saying that maybe Uganda is not quality opposition enough for the Kenya national team, because this was not the full strength Kenyan side. I mean, what can we say in terms of quality opposition? Can we fault the Ugandans?
You cannot fault the Ugandans because the last 1.5 years, I could say the last 2 years, Kenya Rugby has put a lot of investment in the Kenya 15s rugby.
Yes.
And you know very well the game changer was our participation at the Vodacom Cup.
True.
And if I can take people back, although people are still hurting after the loss in Madagascar.
Yes.
You know, the 3 teams, all of us finished on equal points.
Yes.
So, and the winner, who is going to the World Cup, we beat the winner.
True.
And it shows that Kenya has come of age. We can now talk about depth. And when you see Uganda struggling with Kenya A, it means that Kenya has a lot of depth in 15 rugby. But what we need is to make sure we are still not there.
Yeah, but
because what we saw in Madagascar, what we saw in Madagascar is such that we still have something more to do.
And I know Jotham was one person who was very excited when the Kenya Lionesses managed to carry the day against the ladies. Jotham, just to bring you in right now, I mean, in terms of opposition, do you think that the Kenya Lionesses had good opposition? Because they're preparing also for international duty.
Well, number one, they played a really good game. I mean, the first leg of the Elgon Cup, they were the only side to win.
Yes.
Coming here, they also won. I think I saw that as a moral booster for the other teams carrying on, but they did play a good game. Good passage of flow. Fly half was very, very good, very point. Wingers did their job, they finished. Uganda, to be a bit honest, they look a bit confused. It's like they weren't really ready for the game. Handling errors, forced passes when not necessary, and then realigning on defense. That seemed to be the major problem, because the Kenya Lionesses really took advantage of that at the wings. Crash up of the center, sucked them in, large gap on the outsides, and that's what happened. So I think Uganda did show up. They did show up and they did try their best, but I think to be honest, they probably really weren't into it. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but I don't think they were really fired as much.
Well, there was fantastic rugby action at the Elgon Cup. We've got 3 games. That is the Kenya under-19s, we've got the Uganda under-19s, and then we've got the Kenya Lionesses versus the Ugandan side, and the big one, Kenya A versus the Uganda Cranes. All that action, in case you missed it, right here on Scrum Down.
The journey to retain the Elgon Cup started in Kampala, Uganda. Kampala has not been a very good hunting ground for Kenya. Expectations were high in this busy commercial city of Uganda as activities went on unperturbed, despite the big game expected at the Onsando Rugby Club. Ugandan fans are known to be vocal, and this was not going to be easy for Kenya A. The team only trained together for a week, but similarity with Uganda is that both sides did not have their first team players available for this annual encounter, the Elgon Cup. And so the bruising battle at the Onsando Rugby Club followed history as Uganda took the game to their visitors, Kenya A. It was a well-balanced match that in the end the hosts won by the narrowest of margins, 21-14, to set up an interesting second leg in Nairobi.
21-14 from the first leg in Kampala. Not many changes to Peter Magona's side, which did duty last week. I think he has the luxury of a full-strength squad.
The Rugby Cranes from Uganda were dominant at the start, but they gifted Kenya A with the first try scored by Philip Owuor. After 33 minutes, Nato Simiyu converted try gave Kenya A 12-0 lead at the breather.
Great catch of the ball there. Great try for Kenya. Second try for Kenya by Nato Simiyu. That was some great piece of ball.
With pressure on Kenya A, a speculative long punt by Kevin Omio was followed through by Godfrey Mbeya for Kenya's third try.
This is the ball. Mbeya gets it. Does he have the speed? Mbeya looks like he has a gas to burn. Very unlucky there by the Uganda Cranes. Godfrey Mbeya.
Nato Simiyu was superb in this game, danced his way through the Uganda defense to offload to Eden Egero for another try.
Nato Simiyu doesn't feel like he's been out of any national team scepter because he just fits.
With Kenya A up 24-0, substitute Jacob Oji quashed any hopes Uganda had with another super try.
Touchdown.
Jacob Oje, I think, sinks the final nail on the coffin.
The icing on the cake for Kenya was a Victor Brown try as the game came to a close.
And Victor Brown scores a try.
Final score, Kenya A 34, Uganda 0. Kenya retained the Elgon Cup 48-21 on aggregate, combining the 34 points from Nairobi with the 14 from Uganda.
And of course, the Elgon Cup is a traditional tournament between Kenya and Uganda. Started off in 2004. It's a tradition. Kenya always looking for all the games that they can get to improve the kind of play they have. We might not have had the first string Kenyan side, but of course the Kenya A managed to beat Uganda and to clinch the Elgon Cup title in 2014. Welcome back to Scrum Down, and remind you once again, you can join us on Twitter, that is at Scrum Down Rugby. We're on Facebook, it is Scrum Down. So you can give us all your comments, views and reviews on the show, what you would like to see. We are still here with the chairman. Chairman, I know you've heard of Allan Makaka. You've seen him play. One thing you can say about Allan Makaka, he was quick. He was quick. Everybody keeps saying that he was quick. Jotham.
Valuable asset in rugby. The faster you are, the better.
And people actually used to say that he was almost as quick as Speedy. You remember Speedy Akatsa? Almost as quick. Going into player profiles, right now we are profiling Allan Makaka. Played for Kenya Harlequins. Injuries put him out for like 2 years. But this is player profiles, so Scrum Down, Allan Makaka.
My name is Allan Makaka. Many people call me 9.9. Others call me Malala. Others call me Manganga. So there's very many names people do call me.
In all those names, what sticks out and is the most famous one is 9.9, associated with his devastating pace.
9.9 seconds. That was a very interesting story about that. We had these trials at Ulinzi, so just to figure out how fast people can run and things like that. And so we went for the military games trials, which was at Nyayo Stadium. And basically, that's the time that I did in 100 meters. I was quite young then, so I didn't even really know what it meant. So my heart was in rugby straight from high school. I was in Ulinzi now. I was young and we were having a good time. And it really never really bothered me, or it really sparked to me that you can do this and you can take it to different levels.
He was influenced to join Ulinzi by a good friend in the team, Dennis Mwanja. Ulinzi RFC needed players for the under-21 team, and Makaka fit the bill as he was fresh from high school.
So he came up to me and told me, hey, listen, we have this under-21 going on at Ulinzi. You can't let your talent just die off like that. So I remember he came to get me actually from my house. We used to stay in Parklands at then. So he came to get me from my house and took me all the way. They used to train at what's this place called? The showground.
Ulinzi was like a school reunion, with most of the players picking up from where they left off in high school. Makaka says these were his best moments in rugby because he enjoyed his time playing for fun and hanging out with his school peers. The best part, he was paid to have fun.
And trust me, Ulinzi did pay very well. That was the beauty part about it, right? Getting that allowance, they used to call it civilian allowances. Oh, it was quite a hefty amount, right? Back then, 25,000 shilling for a tournament was a good deal.
From Ulinzi, Makaka moved to Kenya Harlequins in 2002, and his rugby suddenly changed. There were coaches for each department, something that was not available at Ulinzi. From just having a burst of speed, Makaka now combined the speed and skills both on the offense and defense part of the game.
My skill moved from just running around helter-skelter to a more structured way of running, right? It moved from just chasing the ball all around to a now attacking formation kind of type of play.
At the local Rugby 7 circuit, Makaka made his name as an explosive sprinter for both Ulinzi RFC and later Kenya Harlequins. The National 7 circuit was and still is a big attraction for both rugby fans and the players.
Local sevens is everything. It's every rugby player's dream, because I mean there's nothing better as to parade yourself in front of the same people who see you on TV, right? There's nothing better as having your own cheer you, right, to glory. There's nothing better as playing with people who've seen you grow from grassroots up until the national level.
In his first ever tournament for the National Sevens team at the 2002 Moshi Sevens in Zambia, Makaka performed dismally and he was quickly dropped from the team. It was a blessing in disguise as it made him step up his game. The reward, another chance that year to play at the IRB Sevens tournament in New Zealand and Los Angeles, USA.
It was amazing. I mean, it was seeing the sights around the world, going all over continents, all the 7 continents, and just experiencing new cultures, running around with players from different continents, different countries. I mean, it's a feeling that you can never really take away from someone. It's an experience you can never really take away from someone. It opens your eyes in terms of relating with people from different corners. You respect people's cultures.
The fairy tale lasted until 2006 Commonwealth Games in Melbourne, Australia. Makaka got a very serious injury, tearing his knee ligament that kept him off rugby for 2 years. He made a slow comeback to play 2 more legs of the IRB in 2008, but things were not the same.
Because I have 2 screws on my knee, which really inhibit movement when it comes to cold weather and things like that. So it was at that point, that tour just made me realize, listen, you're really pushing hard, but you're never going to be the same again. So you might as well just try and figure out something else. What next from here?
Then something interesting happened. He enrolled to be a referee and has a level 2 qualification that he has never put into practice because of his career.
Media is a very dynamic place to work. I mean, it keeps you on your toes, right? It keeps changing every other day.
Allan Makaka pulled his colleagues to form a touch rugby team just for fun and for keeping fit. But it could go a notch higher, if only to give back to the sport that has made him who he is in society.
Moving on Scrum Down, welcome back. Remind you once again on Twitter at Scrum Down Rugby. We're on Facebook, Scrum Down. We'd love to hear all your views and reviews about the show, anything you'd like to see. And the chairman is here. And of course, I mean, Kenyans are still hurting from not qualifying for the World Cup. It was so close yet so far. All the teams were equal on points, nearly made it. Just 1 point needed from that game. But you see, lessons learned. Lessons learned. Tough lessons they are, but lessons learned all the same.
Yeah, tough, very tough. I know it's tough for the Kenyan people to accept the outcome of Madagascar, but it was tougher for the players. It was tougher for those boys because I was with them in the changing rooms, and they were inconsolable, and it's difficult to explain what happened.
True.
But as I said, whether the ref is with you or he's not with you, when you go to a game, you should play 120%. So we had that game in our hands. It did not work for us on the day. And as I said earlier, Aduta Continua, what we need to do now is not to moan and to cry. It's very disappointing.
Yes.
It hurts, it really hurts. But we need to look forward, especially to keep developing. We keep improving our ranking such that even by the next World Cup, wherever the qualifiers will be held, we make sure that we'll be the best team so that it will be without dispute.
True.
It will be without dispute. That
is a very passionate Mwangi Muthe, who is a true legend, by the way, in Kenyan rugby. And speaking about matters legend, we are going right now to Rugby Legends, and we are going to be focusing on Onsando.
Former player for Kenya Harlequins since 1979 at the age of just 17. Schooled in Manchester, where he also played before returning to Kenya. He got a job in Nakuru and still wanted to play rugby, and that is how he formed Nakuru RFC, current Kenya Cup and Enterprise Cup champions. Kenya Harlequins, one of the oldest clubs in Kenyan rugby. It is still one of the clubs that top players would like to play for in Kenya.
Kenya Harlequins have some of the better structures in terms of player development. And I'm currently working with a committee to establish the academy, which I think Kenya Harlequins did start out with an academy 2 or 3 years ago. Then it fell by the wayside because of lack of sponsorship. But we're now working at getting the sponsorship in place.
Times have changed since Ham left the rugby pitch as a player. Clubs are now required to take care of the players' welfare during training and match days. The former players, who are now administrators like Ham, find it difficult to adjust because of the change in treatment from back in the days.
When I played rugby, it was largely amateur. You came and you played and you went. You paid to play. I paid to become a member of Harlequins. I paid my way to games. I bought my own kit. The only thing the club gave you was the shirt and the water at halftime, and probably a crate of booze thereafter.
Legends are not really appreciated, and all they need, according to Ham, is recognition. The Kenya Rugby Union had an initiative called the Mzalendo Award back in the days, an award that appreciated contribution that the legends had to the game in Kenya.
This award seems to have been overtaken, whether by events deliberately or, I don't know, a desire to rewrite history, something that we see very prevalent currently. But I think if they reintroduce this, it would be the way to appreciate your legend. He doesn't want much. He just wants to be recognized that, yes, I did play my part back in the day.
He comes from a rugby playing family, with his brother Jesse Onsando, who played for Nairobi School in 1971, then Joe Onsando joined in 1973, before Ham also got involved in 1979.
We all ended up at Kenya Harlequins, obviously at different times. And we continued getting involved with Kenya Harlequins. Jesse was the treasurer for very many years as well as a player. Joe, I think, is still on history as the longest serving Kenya Harlequins chairman. And I've been chairman, the coach, player, and just a general nuisance at Queens throughout, and continue to be so.
Mwamba had great players, and despite his 6'6" in height and 110 kilograms, they did not see the need for his second row services. He had to move on to find an accommodating club.
I went to Queens to try my luck over there. No, I actually went to Nondi's, tried my luck over there. It was a little bit off color. I then went to Queens. It was interesting. I got a very good welcome. They bought me a pair of boots and they put me in the team. So I never looked back.
In 1996, Onsando was appointed the coach of the Kenya Sevens after leading Kenya Harlequins to a Kenya Cup and Enterprise Cup double. It was a new experience by virtue of the coach being the one to assemble the team and to do all the logistics before a tournament.
Fortunately for me, I got a team manager in the name of Dave Mshila, who actually took it upon himself to take the administrative part away from the coach. So I was in a scenario where players turned up for training because Dave made sure they turned up for training. We, I think, performed better than most teams at that time, or up to that time had performed, basically because of that.
The good thing was that there were many tournaments to be played. Ham led the team in 2 tournaments in Scotland, then the Safari Sevens, and then the World Cup qualifiers. The treatment of the Sevens team was better than the 15s team, as Ham narrates.
For the 15s, it was more or less... oh, Ham, by the way, could you get a 15-side together as well? You know, they've got to play this guy. And we quickly got together. I think Max was not busy at the time. You know, hey, Max, why don't you come and coach this side, you know?
Outside rugby circles, Onsando is a food safety consultant. Basically, training food handlers on the safest way to handle food is his job.
That is Onsando. You know Onsando. He always claims that he's the one who started Nakuru RFC. There's always that debate whether he's the one or not. You've played with Onsando before. I mean, as a player, as a mentor to young lads, what can you say about Onsando? Just 2 words.
Well, if you asked me to rate Ham during his playing days,
yes,
I would have rated him as a first-class player, because Ham had height, he had flair of the game, he had an eye for the gaps. He was an accomplished player.
A true lock.
He was a true rock.
Yes.
And I've seen his son playing
Malcolm
today.
Onsando, that's
Malcolm,
dad, right?
yes. And he's big-time potential. And when you look at the size of Malcolm, and he's actually bigger than his dad,
he is.
It shows that the future of Kenya international rugby is very, very safe.
Yeah.
And we must make sure that we encourage our children. To make sure they keep playing first-class rugby, so that we don't lose them to other sports, because we are competing with us. We are competing with basketball. We are competing with soccer, and we must make sure we protect those youngsters, and we make sure they keep interested in the game, because where Kenya is going, we want to create a professional pool of players who can live out of this game, who can make an honest living out of this game, who can earn money, because if you're not earning money, you can't live.
Yeah, you'll have some trouble.
When we talk about amateur game, there's no future of amateurism anymore.
No, right now we're going professional.
Everything must be professional, and youngsters must see the fruits of their labor. You must see why you sweat, why you breathe, why you get so tired and hurt, and that way it can only come from the numeration. And I must thank all the sponsors who have helped Kenya Rugby get where we are.
Yes, a very passionate chairman of the Kenya Rugby Union, that is Mwangi Muthe. And I mean, you heard it. He told you that it's all about the youngsters. It's developing the sport for the future. And we definitely hope to see bigger things.
I never played with the man, obviously. I'm too young. I wasn't around when you legends were running around. But I have played with his son, Malcolm Onsando, and I think we saw him also in action. He has, from what you guys have told me about the father, he has the aggression definitely, and he has the focus, and he is bigger. It's hard to believe, but he's bigger than the father.
True, he is. That's all we have time for today on Scrum Down. We're going to be catching up with you again next week. Next week, we focus on the ladies rugby and, of course, the under-19s, because I think these two, they did something that was fantastic in the Elgon Cup, and they deserve the mention. So next week, all that action being brought to you right here on Scrum Down. Until next week, go and enjoy some rugby.